Hey there, it's me Eden. Welcome to Crossdressing Adventure Stories. Today I'm going to share with you cross-dressing adventure story called Wife Hypnotized Husband to Wear Women's Dresses Part 5. So, if you're new to the channel, then please consider subscribing and be a part of our inclusive community. His third week of wearing dresses was much the same as the others, although less and less people were showing up to jeer at him in the morning. More and more of his responsibilities were being taken away, and the rumor was that he would be fired soon if he kept wearing dresses. Women who had to talk to him in his office about business-related matters were getting used to seeing him, so that they were able to get through a discussion without laughing at him. And Carl was learning to avoid doing things that made them laugh. He learned that if he crossed his legs like a man, they'd laugh, and if he crossed his legs like a woman, they still laughed. So mostly he just kept his knees together when he talked to them. If he did something the way a woman did it, they'd laugh at him because he was a man, but if he did something the way a man did it, they'd laugh at him because he did it while wearing a dress. He couldn't win. Monday of his third week in dresses, Gloria had him wearing his long-sleeved gleaming scarlet silk sheath, along with his black spike heels. His dress was very tight-fitting and had a high ruched neck and shoulder pads. His skirt came to slightly below the knee. Gloria was impatiently waiting for her husband to come out to the car, wondering what was taking him so long. Maybe he stopped to reapply his lipstick. Maybe he changed his mind about his dress at the last minute. Just like a man to do that. As she was waiting, she realized she didn't have a photo of Carl in his lovely new scarlet silk sheath. She had bought it the weekend before while Carl was getting soaked in the rain. She looked in her purse. She had her disposable camera with her. Suddenly she had a wicked idea for a cute photo. The girls would love it when she showed it to them at their bridge game, which was coming up in just a few days. She took the car keys out of her purse, opened the back door and tossed them in. They landed on the floor, behind the driver's seat. When Carl came out, Gloria was looking in her purse. "Carl, do you have the car keys?" "No." "Check your purse." "I don't need to check my purse, Gloria. You always have M." "Did you lose M?" "We're late enough as it is." "I bet I left them in the car." "Oh, great, let's just put up a sign for all the car thieves in the city." "Why do you do these things, Gloria? Don't you ever think?" "There they are. Could you reach in and get them?" Carl didn't think anything about the request as he was opening the back door, but as he kneeled on the car seat, lifting his skirt up a little so it wouldn't get caught under his knees, he began to wonder why he was the one who had to do this, when he was wearing a tight silk dress, and she was in jeans and a t-shirt. But he reached down to get the keys off the floor, supporting himself with one hand on the car seat. Gloria looked at her husband bending over with his butt in the air. Then she slid up his skirt and his slip and took a picture. Carl came immediately out of the car. He threw the keys down on the ground, tugged down his skirt and said, "What is the matter with you?" She had planned on putting her camera back in her purse fast enough so he wouldn't know she'd taken a picture. But he saw the disposable camera. He grabbed the camera from her and threw it on the ground and impaled it with his spike heel. "Why did you do that?" she exclaimed. "Me? What the hell do you mean by lifting my skirt like that? I just thought it would be a cute picture. How would you like it if someone did that to you? I guess you've never been a girl in elementary school." He made an exasperated sound and bent over to pick up the camera. He tore it in half and threw it in the back of the car, then got in. Gloria picked up the keys, thinking to herself, "Damn, I wish I'd gotten that photo." That would have been so cute. If only I was a little bit faster. She drove him to work in silence. Monday afternoon at work, he was talking to a woman named Marcia about a few business-related questions. Marcia was okay to talk to. She seemed to realize how much he hated to be laughed at, so she didn't make any jokes about the dresses he had to wear. She even seemed to be one of the few people who believed that he had to wear dresses, and that he didn't like it. She'd been hired on April 2nd, so she'd never seen him when he wasn't wearing a dress. After the discussion, she rose to leave. "That is such a cute dress," she said. "It's so pretty and shiny. I love the color. Where'd you get it?" He stared at her, trying to determine if she was making fun of him. He looked down at his tight silk dress. "I don't know," he said. "My wife buys all my dresses." "Speaking of my wife, you'll never believe what she did." "What?" "Nothing. Never mind. I don't want to talk about it." "I don't know why I brought it up." "So, about your dress, have you ever worn it to work before?" "Maybe. I don't know. I don't pay much attention to what I'm wearing. My wife picks out a dress for me in the morning, and I just put it on and don't think about it. I only wear dresses to stop those terrible stomach pains I get. You know about my condition." "Yeah, so you don't really have any preference one way or the other when it comes to dresses?" "No. I mean, when I'm wearing a tight dress like this one, it's harder for me to walk, but when I'm wearing a full skirt, the guys in the hall sometimes they flip up my skirt a little. They shouldn't do that. That's really mean. Why are men so mean, anyway? Why are they like that? Wouldn't you like to be a man once, just for a day, just to find out?" Her hand flew to her mouth when she realized what she'd said. "Oh, no, Carl, I didn't mean you're not a man. I didn't mean just because you wear dresses you're not. I mean, obviously you're a man. I mean, look at you. How could I think you're not? I mean, what was I thinking? Obviously you're a man." "Well, not obviously, because you do wear dresses, but well, obviously you're a man, because you look ridiculous in a dress." "Oh, I didn't mean." Carl held up one hand. "That's okay," he said. "You're right. I do look ridiculous. And I would like to be a man. Even if it were just for one day." Marcia stammered a few more apologies and left. Carl looked down at himself. Well, at least she hadn't laughed at him. Just told him he wasn't a man and that he would never be one. Ever again. That night, Carl dreamed he was walking through the hallway at work in his long-sleeved white silk sheath. The dress he was wearing in the dream had a bow at the collar, and it was belted, although it was so tight it didn't really need a belt. As he made his way down the hall, he noticed that women weren't smirking or laughing at him like they usually did, and there were other things different. They had much shorter hair than he was used to, and they weren't wearing makeup. And they wore pants and comfortable shoes, which made no sense because his firm never allowed women to wear pants. He was just wondering about that, when to his amazement he saw another man in a dress. It was the bastard who had hiked up his skirt that first day, wearing a very simple gray dress with black high heels. He said hi to Carl is passing as though nothing was unusual. Carl passed the office of the vice president in charge of civil litigation, and the vice president in charge of civil litigation poked his head out of the office and asked him to step in to talk to him for a minute. Carl shook his head in wonder when he saw that the vice president in charge of civil litigation was wearing a white blouse with a jabot, and a pink skirt with matching jacket. He was wearing pantyhose, high heels, makeup and everything else Carl was wearing. The vice president in charge of civil litigation motioned Carl into a chair. Carl sat, and noticed that as the vice president in charge of civil litigation sat down, he tucked his skirt beneath him and crossed his legs. "Carl," he said, "I need to talk to you about some of your dresses." Carl nodded, still uncertain about what was happening. "We need to maintain a business atmosphere at the firm, and that means conservative business attire. I'm concerned about some of the dresses you've been wearing to work. It's not a good idea to wear floral chiffon dresses to work, or frilly dresses with lots of ruffles and lace. It's okay to wear a ruffled blouse with some lace on it, but other than that we really expect you to stick to more conservative dresses and skirts." Carl shook his head in wonder. "You have a question?" asked the vice president in charge of civil litigation. "No. No question." "Oh yes, actually George, I do have a question. You wear a bra, don't you?" "Of course I do." "Don't you?" "Why do we wear bras? We don't have breasts. Why should you put on a bra every day, and stick falsies in it?" The vice president in charge of civil litigation sighed. "Carl, business attire isn't always be practical clothing, but we need to maintain a conservative appearance, and that means pants for women and skirts or dresses for men. And along with wearing a dress goes pantyhose, high heels, makeup, and yes, a bra. Why in the world are you asking these questions? You know how the world works." "I just was wondering." George, you do sometimes wear pants, don't you?" The vice president in charge of civil litigation looked at Carl as though he couldn't believe what he just said. "You better be kidding, Carl. If you're not, I'd like you to tell me what in the hell I've ever said or done that makes you think I would ever go around dressed like a woman. A woman? What the hell kind of a sick perversion are you accusing me of? What kind of faggot would go around wearing pants like a woman?" Take it easy, George. I was just kidding around." "You better be." "Sorry, Carl, I don't consider that kind of thing to be very funny. I hope you're not telling me that you wear pants." "Me? No, George, I could never wear pants." "Good. Sorry, I got a little carried away there. If there's nothing else, I think we're done here." Carl stood up and turned to go. Then he turned back. He looked down at his white silk dress. He tugged it down a little and fixed the bow so it looked a little nicer. "George, I do have one more question." "What?" Carl looked down at his dress again. "Is this dress okay?" "Sure, the dress you're wearing is fine." "I assume you're wearing a slip?" "Of course." "Then there'd be no problem wearing that dress to court or meeting with clients. Just be careful when you're putting on lipstick. I was wearing a white polyester dress last week, and I was touching up my lipstick and got some on my skirt." "On your skirt?" "Oh, I just wasn't thinking. I forgot to close it up before I put it back in my purse, and it brushed against my skirt. Damn lucky thing I wasn't meeting with any clients that day. It's not always so easy being a man, is it? Is there anything else?" "No," said Carl, and left. No matter how strange the dreamer doesn't question, he just believes. When Carl woke up Tuesday morning, he felt good to know that it wouldn't be such a big deal wearing a dress to work anymore, now that all the men were in dresses. It took him all of 30 seconds to realize it was a dream, and that he was still a freak. A crossdressing freak, an object of ridicule and derision, a big joke for everyone to laugh at and make fun of. A man in a dress, a man entitled to no dignity whatsoever. Tuesday evening of his third week in dresses, He was sitting around after dinner in his long-sleeved lavender silk dress with a bow at the collar and his white high heels, watching the game on TV. There was a knock at the door, and he got up to answer it. It was Gladys, from down the street. She was a fairly large woman, having given birth to 6 kids. She laughed a little bit, seeing Carl in his lavender dress. She tried to stifle her laughter with her hand. "I'm sorry for laughing, Carl. I'm still not used to seeing you dressed this way. I'm sure eventually I'll get used to seeing you in a dress. Maybe another 10 years or so." "Just kidding." "What do you want?" he asked, irritably. "I'm glad to see you're still wearing dresses. I was afraid you'd gotten cured, or something. I need your help." "With what?" "The game is on." "Couldn't your husband help you?" "Oh, no, there's only one man in the neighborhood who can help me with this, and it just so happens he's wearing a dress." Carl noticed for the first time that she had a green crepe dress and a white slip in her hands. "I need to hem up my dress a little, for a wedding, and you and I are the same dress size, I'm embarrassed to say. Would you just slip into my dress for a few minutes?" "And the slip?" "Please, Carl." "I don't think so." "Please?" "If you help me out, you can borrow any of my dresses anytime you want." "Please?" "Of course Carl will help you out," said Gloria, who was suddenly behind him. "The game." "Honey, you can watch the game while you model her dress. Come on in, Gladys." He sighed. He turned around and said to his wife, "Unzip me." Gladys giggled a little bit as Gloria unzipped her husband's dress. The green dress had a button front, so he wouldn't need Gloria's help getting it on. He went into the bedroom and changed into Gladys's dress and slip, then went back into the TV room and stood on a footstool while she pinned it up. He watched the game while she worked. "Are you wearing maiden form?" she asked. She got no response, so she tugged on the dress he was wearing. "What?" "I just wanted to know if you're wearing maiden form. Your lingerie. They have a lot of great full-figured stuff." "I don't know. Ask my wife." "Gladys, I'm trying to watch the game." Gladys called in Gloria from the next room and asked, "I was just asking your husband if he's wearing maiden form." "I don't know. I bought him some maiden form, but I can't remember if he's wearing them or not." Before Carl could put his hands down to stop her, before he even knew what she was going to do, Gloria lifted up the dress and slip he was wearing and looked under it. "Yes. Maiden form," she said, letting the skirt drop. "And his bra is, too. I remember now." Carl was angry and embarrassed at being treated this way, but he decided the best thing he could do was ignore it and try to get through this as best he could. He tried to concentrate on the game and ignore the two women. How about his pantyhose? Does he wear legs, or? "Gentlemen prefer Hanes," said Gloria, and they both laughed. "Those are Hanes Ultra Sheer in taupe, I think." Gladys laughed and said, "You know, if anyone had told me we'd be standing around talking about what kind of pantyhose and lingerie your husband is wearing, I would have thought they were nuts." "I know. And of all the men in this neighborhood to wind up going to work dressed like a girl, Carl is the last man I'd ever expect. Big macho marine wearing pantyhose and a dress and high heels and a bra and girdle. Can you believe it?" Carl kept watching the game, trying to tune out what he was hearing, but of course he couldn't tune it out completely. "Oh, that's nothing," said Gloria. "You should have seen him last Saturday, trying to kiss Jim." "Gloria, please," said Carl. "You're kidding." Carl, you really are turning out to be quite a fine young woman, aren't you? First you're wearing dresses, now you're kissing a man. Why was he trying to kiss Jim? Well, Jim's a pretty attractive fellow, said Gloria. Gloria, stop it, said Carl. I went a little nuts. I lost my temper. So by way of apology you decided to make out with him, said Gladys. Look, I wasn't serious. I wasn't trying to kiss anyone. I know what I saw, said Gloria. You with your arms around Jim, begging for a kiss. Stop it, Gloria. Melissa better look out. You're going to steal away her man, Carl, said Gladys. Carl gave up and kept his mouth shut and waited for it to be over. There was nothing he could say to stop it. Which one of your dresses were you wearing, Carl? For your boyfriend, Jim? Carl said nothing. Well, I'll tell you if he won't. His short pink satin dress, said Gloria. Oh, I think I've seen him in that dress. That's a sexy dress. I'll bet Jim loved you in that dress, Carl. How could any man keep his hands off you when you wear a dress like that? You don't give the guys a chance, do you? Jim is definitely a leg man. I better not let Carl wear that dress around Jim again if I want to keep my husband. So when they were kissing, did Jim have his hands all over Carl? Well, I didn't actually get to see them kissing. And Carl's lipstick wasn't smeared, so I don't think they ever got to start. I feel kind of bad that I interrupted their romance, because they were so obviously made for each other. It's always so romantic when a man and a woman find each other, or in this case, a man and another man who wears dresses. Carl, said Gladys, I have a good feeling about you too. I think you and Jim are a perfect couple. Jim's a leg man, and Carl, you're a man who loves wearing pantyhose and short, sexy dresses. I definitely hear wedding bells, Carl. You've got to promise me that I get to be your maid of honor. I can't wait to see you in your wedding gown. It's too bad you and Gloria will be getting a divorce, but that's probably for the best. I mean, she's a woman. You don't want to be married to a woman when you look so much like a woman yourself. And Gloria can't compete with you. You look so much better in a dress than she does. That's true, said Gloria. So Carl, have you and Jim been out on any dates, yet? Has he called? I bet you can't wait to hold hands with him at the movies. You'll have to pick out a special dress for your first date together. Or maybe a skirt and blouse. Does he ever wear a skirt and blouse? No. I got him a skirt and blouse, but he wouldn't try them on. Carl wouldn't wear a skirt? We've finally found something that Carl won't wear. Besides pants. I bought him a new dress a few days ago. It looks just like a skirt and a blouse. Let me show you. Gloria went into the bedroom to get her husband's dress. A commercial was starting. When he saw what it was, he couldn't believe his terrible luck. What was a commercial for lingerie doing on a sports broadcast? Oh, look at that, said Gladys. How about that? They must have known you'd be watching, Carl. Gladys, just stop it. That's enough. Stop making fun of me. I'm doing you a favor, here. Sorry. I didn't know you were so touchy. We're just kidding around, Carl. Don't take it so seriously. Gloria came back in with the dress, a very short sexy dress that really did look like a frilly silk blouse and a leather skirt. It was belted, and the white silk top had white lace at the collar and cuffs, and ruffles and lace down the center. Oh, that's beautiful. Carl's going to look so sexy in this. Has he tried it on? No, but it's belted, so I think it'll fit him all right. Won't need much altering. Oh, Carl's boyfriend is just going to love him in this. I'd love to see Carl in this dress. She took it from Gloria and held it up next to Carl. Carl, would you try on your dress for me? Please? No. I'm not a Barbie doll. Will you please get on with hemming this dress? Gloria, will you go back in the living room and let her work? Don't be so rude, said Gloria. Go in the living room or I'm taking this dress off right now. Okay. Okay. After 30 minutes, Gladys announced she was done. She excused herself to go to the bathroom. Carl's feet were killing him after standing for half an hour in high heels without a break. He stepped off the footstool, wanting to sit down for a while, when he heard another knock at the door. Gloria answered. It was Herman, Gladys's husband, asking if Gladys was there. Gloria told him she was in the TV room. He was headed into the room. Carl couldn't face him. He just couldn't face any more of the guys in the neighborhood. It was bad enough what happened with Jim. He got off the footstool and stood looking out the window, his back to the room, holding his hands tightly together. He heard Herman enter the room behind him. Suddenly, he felt someone grab him around the waist, and someone was kissing his neck. It was Herman. He looked at him in shock. What are you doing? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought you were my wife. You're wearing her dress. Do I look like a woman to you? I'm sorry, Carl, I'm sorry. You're wearing her dress, and the hair is the same. I'm sorry. The two women came into the room. When they realized what had happened, they both started laughing like hyenas. Do you two lovebirds want to be alone? Asked Gloria. No one's husband is safe when Carl's around. That's it. Both of you out of here, right now. He grabbed Herman by the arm and started propelling him from the room. Gladys went with him, but Carl was prepared to throw her out as well, if she didn't go willingly. You're still wearing my dress, objected Gladys. You can get it later, said Carl. That's all for now. See you in the next video, till then take care. Oh yes, please like and subscribe to my channel. And also share your feedback, it really means a lot to me.